When I started this channel, my main strategy that I have been farming and I made a lot of videos about was Simulacrums. So to no surprise, when this league we got a big change to Simulacrums, a lot of people have been asking me what do I think about it and if I'm going to farm it again. The change was that now, instead of having 30 waves, each Simulacrum only has 15, and difficulty starts at the old wave 15. This means that we skip first 15 waves of each Simulacrum, which were not really that rewarding. This actually made Simulacrums harder as a league start strategy, because we would benefit from these 15 easy waves before getting a good gear, but now we are no longer at the league start. I have a pretty good character, capable of clearing all 15 waves while getting 6 to 7 rows of rewards, so I decided to do a test to figure out how good is farming Simulacrums after the changes. When it comes to the setup for this test, there is nothing really to talk about, and that's the best part about Simulacrums. They are very cheap. I was buying them for around 25 chaos in bulk, and you don't need to buy anything extra for them. The only thing you can do, and I did it for this test, is to buy gems to level up, because Simulacrums provide a ton of experience. In this test, which took me around 6 hours, I leveled up twice from level 96 to 98, and I got also around 40% XP at level 98, so it's not that bad amount of experience for you and your gems. So for this test I used 34 Simulacrums, but I actually ran only 24. The reason for that is because with Simulacrums being cheap, what you can do is you can fish for good layouts. In case you don't know, there are 5 different Simulacrum layouts, with the best one being Bridge and Ruptured. Depending on your build, the other layouts might be better or worse for you, but for me, my second favorite layout is Lunacy Watch, then Syndrome Encampment. And the last 2 layouts that I hate running are Hysteria Gate and Eye of Delusion. So what I did, I still ran each layout at least one time, but afterwards I was skipping the 2 that I don't like. So the Eye of Delusion and Hysteria Gate. This also gave me better results, because in these 2 layouts I would very rarely get 7 rewards, and in the other ones I was getting them way more often. The last thing I want to mention before we jump into the test results is that even if you don't get 7 rewards, maybe you get 6 and 90% of the bar towards the 7th one, you don't get extra loot for the 90%, but you still kill more monsters, which means you get more XP towards the gems and for your character. And in case you are wondering, it took me 8 Simulacrums to level up Enlightens and Empowers with 20% quality, and it took me 16 to level up Awakened gems. And when it comes to leveling gems, remember that everyone can level up to 9 gems in their weapon swaps if you use Bow and Quiver Maloney mechanism, so in total can have 9 gems. You can also have Bow with additional quality for socketed gems. This way you get additional quality for Enlightens and Empowers, so you get experience for them faster. And also in my main gear, I was using 3 gems in my wand, 2 gems in my second one, and 4 gems in my gloves, because my build doesn't require that many gems. So in total, I was leveling 18 gems altogether. So what I ended up doing is I leveled up 1 set of Enlightens and Empowers, which took me 8 Simulacrums, and then 1 set of Awakened gems, which took me 16 Simulacrums, so in total I ended up doing 24 Simulacrums. So now let's have a look at the results. So here is the stash with basically all of the loot that I got, and there is a lot of random stuff, which actually makes Simulacrum really annoying when it comes to selling things, because you just have a lot of random things to sell. So here, as you can see, I have a lot of scarabs, fossils, essences, maps and garden maps, stack decks, oils, fragments, and currency, and in total I did drop 6 divines. Also, you get card from Simulacrum, which gives you Eldritch Chaos Orbs, so I ended up getting 1 full set, which gave me 5 Eldritch Chaos Orbs. And here we have some additional loot, which is mostly just jewels and some unique items. So all of these split personalities are not really worth anything. You can sell them for between 1 to 10 chaos, so I decided to not put them in the results. And here we have all of the voices that I found. So I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 7 passive voices and 3 5 passives. Unfortunately, not a single 3 passive or 1 passive. So I still, up until this day, still have not dropped a single 1 passive voices throughout all of the simulacrums that I did since the Delirium League, which is probably at this point thousands of simulacrums. So I am actually kind of unlucky when it comes to 1 passive. I did find 3 passive one time, I think a few weeks ago, but still no 1 passive. Here I have all of the Megalomaniacs. I actually decided to not include them in the test results because they're kind of hard to price check. What I'm going to end up doing is probably I'm going to put them all in one tab, price it for 10 divines, then at some point I'm going to reduce it to 5 divines, 3, 2, 1, and then probably just going to remove them if they don't sell for 1 divines. Probably some of them can be sold, but most of them are worthless. Here we have all of the jewels, and none of these jewels are actually worth anything. Here we have some additional breach rings, which you can sell to the vendor. If you have full 6-tier breach rings, you can sell them for 1 grasping mail. And here we have 2 Venturous Gamble, which are not really worth anything, and 1 ring, which has Intimidate for 4 seconds enemy on hit. You actually drop quite a lot of synthesized and fracture items from Simulacrums. This is the only one that was actually worth something, but it's still nothing too crazy. Just to show you, right now it goes for like 30, maybe 80k or so. Yeah, I also did not include it in the test results. But what I did include is this 1 jewel that I actually got by selling 5 small cluster jewels to the vendor, and in exchange you get 1 new cluster jewel. And this one is with 3 passives and 6% increased mana reservation efficiency with item level 84. Right now is worth around 1 divine. And Grasping Mail, unidentified, item level 84 is worth around 100 chaos. So I did not identify it yet, so I priced it at that, so 100C. Let's actually check it right now, what I'm gonna get after identifying. Maybe I'm gonna get lucky. And I got pretty much nothing. I don't think any of these mods are worth anything, so yeah, should have sold it unidentified, but I don't really care. And for split personalities, I got 1 with strength and intelligence, which goes for 1 divine, and 3 with strength and life, which right now go for also around 1 divine, maybe 1.5 divine. So these are the only big drops that I got, nothing really else. And here we have all of the gems that I leveled up. So here you can see all of the enlightens and empowers, and here all of the awakened gems. When it comes to leveling awakened gems, remember, it is better to just choose a bunch of random different awakened gems. Don't level up, let's say, just awakened cold damage, because then you're gonna have to sell 18 added cold damage, which is gonna take you way longer. So I prefer to just choose a lot of different ones. And in case of choosing which ones to level up, I just usually go through trade, check a bunch of level 1 gems, check a bunch of level 5 gems, and check what is the difference in price for them. And usually it's between 1 to 2 divines. Price difference between level 1 and level 5. For most of these gems, it was between 1 and 1.5 divines. And when it comes to leveling enlightens and empowers, usually it is way better to level up enlightens. You get much better profit from them, but also enlightens are more expensive, so it requires much bigger investment. So empowers is usually better if you don't have that much money to invest into the gems. Okay, so now let's have a look at the spreadsheet. So like always in my spreadsheets, here we have spending, so how much money did I spend on this test. And this one was pretty cheap, only 5 divines, because I had to buy 34 simulacrums. But for this one, I did include the gem prices separately. So here we have profit from the gems, and that does already include the cost of them. So loot is separate from the gems, so we can figure out how good it is to level up gems in simulacrums compared to just doing simulacrums without leveling gems. So again, for the spendings, 34 simulacrums, but I did only around 24 of them, so 10 of them were wasted. And later I'm gonna show you how big of a difference would it make if I did not reroll some of the simulacrums layouts. I would only buy 24 and around 24 of them. In terms of time, it took me 6.5 hours. It should have been 6 hours because most of the simulacrums I was doing in 15 minutes, but there is also some additional time when I would die or would fight bosses a little bit longer and do some kind of trade, so additional half an hour. I was leveling enlightens in 8 simulacrums and awakened gems in 16s, and if you care about gold, here's the amount of gold I made. So simulacrums don't really make you that much gold, but it is at least something. Here we have all of the categories of loot, so 2.5k from scarabs, 600 from fossils, almost 500 from essences, 350 from maps, stack decks, actually pretty good amount, 1.2 thousand chaos, and from all of the currency and fragments, 3.6k. And other, so this is the cluster jewels and uniques and so on, I made 1,300 chaos, and from the gems 6,000. So total I made 10,000 chaos from loot and 6,000 from gems. So quite a lot of money from the gems. And looking at the gems, here we have prices of them. So each enlightened right now costs around 700 chaos, and this does include prices of gem cutters, and here is a price of them, so 1.6 chaos per one, so 32 chaos per gem. And empowers only 72 chaos, so if you don't have that much money and you want to start farming simulacrums, I definitely would recommend starting with empower gems or awakened, because they are also usually pretty cheap. You can also start with the ones that cost like 10, 20 chaos and just check profit from leveling them. I did put here average price of all of the awakened gems I was buying, because some of them were 1 divine, some of them were like 20c, so this is the average price of all of the gems that I did buy. And again, I bought 18 Awakened, 8 Empowers, 10 Enlightens, and here is the price of the gems after leveling. So here is profit from each gem, how much I made from every category of gems, and here is profit per simulacrum from this gem. So this is the most important part. So as of right now, the best gem to level up would be Enlighten. Empower is definitely worse, but again, it is cheaper to start with the Empowers, and Awaken it actually should be better because this is profit per simulacrum, so it is easier to just manage them. But on top of that, I wasn't really looking into the best gems to level up. I just bought some random ones. You definitely can make more if you actually choose correct the best ones to level up, the ones that give you the best margins in terms of difference between level 1 and level 5. So you probably can make similar amount than you make from the enlightens or even more. And also you don't have to buy gem cutters, so it is a little bit easier in terms of that. You spend less money and less time on awakened gems. So profit from gems, it was a little bit more than 6,000 chaos, and again this already is a minus the investment. So in total 16,000 chaos, which is around 88 divines. So I made almost 14 divines per hour, which is 2.6 divines per simulacrum. So this is actually pretty good considering simulacrums is just an AFK strategy. You can watch movie at the same time, watch streams, whatever you want to do. So it is pretty easy, but at the same time it is kind of boring for basically the same reason. You just sit in the middle, do nothing. But they are also pretty hard. You need a good build. You want to make sure you always get at least 6 rows of reward every single time. Well, it is fine if you get 5 occasionally, of course, but you should aim to get 6 rewards, preferably even 7 occasionally. Now let's look at all of the different variations of this setup. So what if I actually did run 24 simulacrums, and I did buy 24, so I wasn't rerolling the battle layouts. And as you can see, profit doesn't really change too much because this is such a small investment. I only would make 0.2 div per hour more. And if I didn't reroll them, remember I would have to run bad layouts, which means I would get 7 rewards more often, which probably means I would get also a little bit less loot. So in my opinion, if you just don't want to run certain layouts, just reroll them. Unless prices of simulacrum change and maybe they're gonna be more expensive, but even if like they are 40 chaos, I still probably would reroll them. So maybe 50 chaos plus, then you could consider not just doing the best layouts and go for some of the worst ones. Now, what if I wasn't leveling gems? So let's just remove the gems profit. And as you can see, it is way worse, only 8 divines per hour. So in my opinion, if you are not leveling gems, you probably shouldn't be doing simulacrums. Now, what if you cannot level up 18 like I was? So because I was leveling them in the weapon swap and also on my main gear, I was making this amount. But if you were leveling them only in weapon swap, maybe you're playing build that cannot sacrifice any gem slots, you would basically make half of that, right? Instead of 6,000, you would make 3,000. So let's just put this here. You would be making 11 divs per hour, which is still, to be honest, pretty good. You should try to fit some additional awakened gems. Maybe you can even put some of them in your main setups. For example, what I could have done here, I am using awakened elemental damage with attack, so I could have put just level 1 in here and just level up this. Maybe in some of your other skills you can put some awakened gems level 1 and just level them up. Maybe even enlighten or empower. So that's also something you can consider doing. And also remember that for some of these gems I was using empowers, which are not the best to level up, as you can see here. So with proper setup, you can probably make even more than that. Maybe even up to 10,000 divines per hour, I'm not too sure. Would have to do a proper test with gems that maybe on some of them you can make up to 2 divines per gem. So that's up to you to do some market research and find out which gems are the best to level up. But for this video, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.